top dollar for your trade, especially since demand is through the roof for Sportsters, Softails, Trikes, and touring models. Any make, any model. So trade in and trade up now. Visit thehavenharley.com. We want your bike, and you need your freedom. Get it all at The Haven Harley-Davidson.
Transform your property with Black Seal, Columbia's premier asphalt paving and maintenance experts. With unmatched expertise, we deliver exceptional results for residential and commercial projects of any size. Our skilled team specializes in asphalt paving, seal coating, repair, crack sealing, and removal, utilizing the latest techniques and top quality materials. Trust Black Seal to enhance your property's appearance and durability. Visit blacksealsc.com today to experience the Black Seal difference.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances, and Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union presents scenes from Palmetto Citizens job interviews.
Tell me, Emily, what makes you the right fit for our vice president of Getting Pumped role?
Well, I have 8 years of banking experience, and helping people get great rates makes me super excited.
I have fun meeting myself. I said we got the kitchen table set up today.
Sometimes it's like a woo.
Yes.
Other times it's more of a no, yeah.
Nice. Had to change it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
the wood paneling
wow.
was nice.
Palmetto Citizens. Feel the love. Federally insured by NCUA.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/radio, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
11 o'clock on your Friday morning. Welcome in. It's the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, Wes, and Chris along with you here. It's finally here. The weekend rivalry. South Carolina
for baseball. Hopefully that remains throughout the weekend, but definitely right now feels like baseball out, feels like spring. And, I'm excited. I know a lot of Gamecock fans are as well. Probably a lot of Gamecocks making the trip up there, at least for the game tomorrow in Greenville. And, man, there's just nothing like this rivalry in college baseball. And I'm hoping for 3 good games. I think it will be. Seems like a lot of your maybe more neutral people are giving Clemson a little bit of an edge. But, I think you have, obviously, a fairly veteran South Carolina team that's going up there. And they maybe haven't all played together a ton, but they've played a lot of ball. And, you got some guys, you saw Matthew Becker talking about the rivalry. You got some guys from this state as well that understand exactly what this thing means around here. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Becker to get a shot to go out there and have a weekend where he's a starter and has a chance to maybe plant his name on this rivalry.
Well, and Chris, we have a handful of guys that know what it's like to be on the other side of this thing. And Nathan Hall, Dylan Rocky, Miney coached on the other side of it. Like, it's a nice mix of a little bit of everything going into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of storylines. And, to your point, Wes, some of the national people giving Clemson a bit of an edge. And we're all going to find out after this weekend, where things stand. Somebody's going to win this series. It's kind of a question of who wins and what's the margin. Is it a sweep? Is it you win the series 2-1? What is it close? What does it look like? I certainly expect a hard-fought, competitive, close series. And from what I've seen, just kind of taking the pulse on social media, taking the pulse on the Insiders Forum, even looking at what some Clemson folks are saying. A lot of times you get that back and forth between fans. It seems like that's kind of what everybody expects, right? Like, I don't even see fans going, if you're South Carolina, we're going to blow out Clemson. I don't see a bunch of Tigers people, at least I haven't, saying this thing isn't going to be close. I mean, this is two teams that have started the season quite well. Combined, they have one loss, and for Clemson, that was it was a significant loss, but it was to an SEC team in Ole Miss, right? And so this is going to be the biggest challenge potentially for both of these teams. For South Carolina, definitely the biggest challenge so far. So it should be fun. There's always a little extra, juice to this rivalry. I know there's a lot of respect, and there's some people that, like you said, Tyler, have been on both sides of the thing. At the end of the day, we might see some emotions and things like that. It's just going to come down to who plays the best. And I think that's been Paul Mainieri's message, the entirety of the time leading up to this game.
Well, and speaking of Mainieri there, I feel like there's just an extra little bit of juice added to this with him playing coaching in his first one here. And again, while he's not as familiar with this rivalry from being a part of it, he's obviously been there and done that with everything else in college baseball. And when you have a very good squad on the other side, coached by Eric Bakich, you feel like it's going to be two high-level coaches bringing two pretty good teams to the fight here. And I think that added to the excitement of what this year's edition is going to be.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Gamecock fans who have started to, I think, get back into the baseball program to an extent. Like, this is a baseball state, I think. And there's a lot of great baseball in this state. There's a lot of high interest in the game. And, I think last year took it out of South Carolina fans just a little bit. And so to get back into this thing and to be in a position to maybe go win the thing, like I think Mainieri, I assume he knew about the rivalry, but I think it's probably been a little bit eye-opening to him based on some of his comments, just how much people care about this 3-game series in this state. And, Tyler, it wasn't that long ago that this was not a 3-game weekend series. It used to be something that was played as one of your typical midweeks. And so, you didn't always get kind of the best of 3, and you didn't always get the chance to see ace pitcher versus ace pitcher and number 2 versus number 2, etc. And, so for South Carolina and for really both programs, it's a great opportunity to just showcase what you're all about. And for Mainieri and this group, it's our first real chance, like you said in the open, to see them against great competition. But I'm very excited just to see how both teams respond. If you're gonna do anything in baseball, you have to be able to execute in close ball games. You have to be able to execute when you're being yelled at by 8,000 or whatever people. You have to be able to execute when your heart rate's maybe up just a little bit. And this will be our first taste of that for this team, and we know they're going to be in. How many close SEC games are you in? If you're just a good team, you're going to be in a ton of close games throughout that 30-game stretch in SEC play. So this is a little taste of that, and a little taste of, hey, who can execute when the emotions are a little bit higher.
Guys, what do y'all think, if you had to guess? Clemson does lead the all-time series in baseball. Only 56% winning percentage.
Greenville.
Yeah, I don't have a guess, Chris. What you got?
Clemson, games at Clemson, of course, the Tigers have the advantage. 69%. the Gamecocks are narrowly leading the series in Columbia, 55%. And then neutral site games, very close. Tigers just 1 game lead, 14-13 in neutral site meetings. And since 2010, the Gamecocks are up 8-7 in neutral site contests. So, if you're looking statistically at the past, at, which venue has the bigger advantage, it has been at Clemson. But that goes back a long time, obviously, historically in this rivalry.
Yeah, and last year we didn't even get a home game here because Friday night rained out, and they played the game at Segra and then wrapped up the series at Clemson on Sunday. We never got to reschedule that third game. So for the first time in now 2 years, you're going to get the game at Founders coming up on Sunday. And again, weather looking good for this week. A little bit cooler on Sunday, but should be able to get all these games in no problem. And again, it all starts tonight in that tough environment that is Doug Kingsmore Stadium. And Nathan Hall leading things off as a former Clemson player, probably going to get a nice chorus of boos to get the weekend rolling.
Yeah, and this isn't as like rare as it once was. Like you've had other guys that have played for both schools, and we've kind of maybe seen fans get used to that a little bit. But yeah, I imagine there's going to be quite a reaction there. Like you said, he'll be leading off the entire series.
Yeah, for top of the first.
So he's going to get that out of the way, quickly, which I think will probably be good for him. And the thing about baseball, man, there's going to be a big at bat in this series that involves one of those two guys. That's just the way it works. So sure. Can you come through? Can you beat your probably some old friends there as well? It's not like you hate the guys on the other side just because you transferred. Like I gotta imagine among the players, it's kind of a fun little competition there. But for the fans, it obviously means a lot. And I think this team's going to be tested not just because it's obviously the best opponent they've played, but guys, it really, the way it is structured this year probably favors Clemson just a little bit in terms of being, you start off at home.
Sure.
And so you have an opportunity to take early control of the series, and then before you could win the series before you even step foot in Columbia. Yeah. And so I think that's maybe a factor in this thing. If you're South Carolina, it's always funny if you have like kind of I see it as Clemson. It's like a series where they have the home field advantage, but if the team on the road wins the first one, you completely flip it. And so now you put the pressure back on Clemson. So I mean, game one in this thing,
huge.
It's huge. It's going to be tight. South Carolina's played a lot of close games in that stadium, and it seems like Clemson has won a lot of close games. That's Chris gave us the numbers, but it just feels like Clemson has won a lot of close games in that stadium, and it feels like the neutral site games have been some just absolute battles. I mean, the one last year in Segra was fantastic baseball game. I'm trying to think of the one the year before in Greenville. There's been a lot of good ones in Greenville as well that have just come down to one or two at bats, and so I think there's some excitement in terms of just seeing some high quality baseball.
Yeah, and you mentioned the rivalry aspect where these guys, there's a lot of crossover now, and we came up in the era of playing baseball not only at the rec department but travel ball in high school, and they got summer leagues and stuff like that where these guys are familiar with each other. It's not the territorialness with the players I think that it was back in the day of only guys from the upstate playing Clemson, only guys from the Midlands and so forth playing at South Carolina. So a lot of crossover. So like you said, when you listen to Hall and the Rocky talk this week, there's not as much animosity individually from the players, but the hostility is certainly still there from a fan base standpoint.
Wes, you're mentioning that game at Floor Field in 2023. That was the that one. Talking about juice, man. That was the come from behind 11-9 win where Carson Hornug, who's now a Jacksonville State Gamecock, if I'm not mistaken, and Cole Messina both had their big homers in that game. Hornung had that I think, a 3-run shot. Cole Messina hit one over the monster that, went about 10,000 feet, I think. And the Clemson dugout was yelling at him to run because he was admiring it a little bit. That was a fun game. That was a fun one.
Well, hopefully we're in tune for some fun games this upcoming weekend. Not only from a baseball standpoint, but softball as well. They've got their own test taking on number 8 Duke up the road in Durham as well. We'll talk about all that with our guy, Kate Kirnshaw, coming up next as the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs rolls along on your Friday here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam, you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Like Tyler said, this show presented by our friends over at Firehouse Subs, and you can have your lunch presented by Firehouse Subs as well. FirehouseSubs.com, or I think the easiest way to do it, Firehouse Subs app. Hopefully you've already downloaded it, but if you have not, go ahead and get it now. And then regardless of which way you do it, the website or the app, hit the Rapid Rescue to Go pickup order. They're going to have it waiting for you on the shelf at one of the 15 convenient locations of Firehouse Subs all around the Midlands. Of course, like I've been telling you, they've got the new French dip with premium cut roast beef, garlic bread roll, couple of different types of cheese, and then, of course, au jus on the side that puts it over the top. And if you need a little bit more, Hot Sauce Bar is back. Add some flavor to any sub. You can do that either if you're dining in or if you're picking up, again, on that Rapid Rescue. So start the weekend off right with a great lunch from Firehouse Subs at firehousesubs.com or the Firehouse Subs app.
Sports Trophies is here to meet all of your award and recognition needs. Don't let the name fool you. They are much more than just sports awards. They can provide you with everything from trophies, plaques, crystal awards, acrylic awards, name badges, and that's just for starters. They provide awards and recognition for schools, universities, churches, associations, corporations, small business, and of course, anything sports related. Call 803-798-8686 or email to sportstrophies@gmail.com. And go Gamecocks!
New Orleans is coming to Steel Hands Brewing in Casey on Saturday, March 1st, starting at 11 a.m. Come celebrate this free event Nolan style. There will be live music all day, beignets, a low country boil with giant jumbo shrimp, smoked sausage, potatoes, corn cobs, and the Steel Hands Secret Cajun Bay Hybrid Seasoning. Plus, they'll be bringing back their King Cake Golden Ale release. So grab your friends, wear your purple, green, and gold, and come party New Orleans style at Steel Hands Brewing Saturday, March 1st.
At the Haven Harley-Davidson, the new Harley models are here during the Whole Lotta Love event. Right now, buy select 2024 models with no money down and rates as low as 1.49%. Shop 24/7 at thehavenharley.com. A whole lot of love for a whole lot of bike. Find your soulmate at the Haven Harley-Davidson. Offer on select new 2024 cruiser models. 1.49% APR offer available to high credit tier customers for a 48-month term. Not all applicants will qualify. Offer valid through March 31st, 2025. See dealer for details.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report.
404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 107.5 The Game app.
And welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler, West, and Chris along with you here on your Friday on the Game, getting you set for a huge weekend across all sports. here at South Carolina, focusing a lot on baseball, but softball, a huge weekend as well as they go on the road, taking on number 8 Duke up the road in Durham. Joining us now, I think we'll refer to him as our Diamond Sports expert because he is back and forth between baseball and softball. Cade Crenshaw joining us once again on the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Cade, first of all, appreciate your time once again this morning. And, when you talk about the starts for both Maneri and Coach Chastain Woodard, fantastic, undefeated up to this point, both of them taking up a big step in competition with Clemson and Duke respectively, and going to learn a lot about both programs this weekend.
Certainly the competition level steps up from what both programs have really seen so far. Not as much on the softball side, and they had first 2 games of the season against Virginia, which was a top 25 team coming into the year in the preseason polls. Then you take on a North Carolina squad in a midweek, and then you're coming off, of course, a Charlotte program that we know what Coach Chastain Woodard did there last year. So certainly softball this weekend, going to Duke. That's a top 10 team. You haven't come close to that this year, and it's on the road. It's always tough to play on the road. But like I always say, winning's hard. It's not easy to win, but both Coach Chastain Woodard and Coach Maneri have taken care of things so far.
Let's talk a little baseball, of course. Best rivalry, they say, in college baseball. Excited to get this thing started, Cade. What are you paying attention to, man? Like when you think of these 3 games, is there anything that just pops out to you as just going to be a major key this weekend? You think?
Yeah, there's a couple things, right? Certainly South Carolina's pitching staff has controlled games so far this year. You've got a staff ERA at 2.25. That's top 20 in the country. They've also struck out 105 batters. That's among the nation's leaders, too. So pitching-wise, South Carolina's been pretty solid this year. Certainly moving up Matthew Becker and Jake McCoy a day up in the rotation due to Dylan Eskew's injury last week. You have to wonder, one day's rest shouldn't affect those guys much at all, and they've been solid so far. But certainly the offenses that they're going to be pitching against here this weekend, totally different than what they've seen so far. Not even in the same, really, conversations to this point. Plus, you're on the road tonight. This is a tough environment. It's always different. Plus, now, for those that don't know, Clemson's Doug Kingsmore Stadium has made some changes that's made it really, really difficult for visiting teams. In the offseason, they did a lot of construction to their ballpark, and one of the changes they made was, of course, any university, they want to make as much money as possible, which means you got to sell as many tickets as possible. So they've moved the visitors' bullpen over from maybe a safe area behind a foul territory wall to now it's on the field in foul territory on the third baseline. So it's an exposed visitors' bullpen, much like we've seen, oftentimes in like minor league stadiums like at Segra or up at Fuller Field in Greenville. So that's something for guys to maybe get a little used to as well. Plus, it's your really first true road game of the year. I understand I was with the team when we went to Rock Hill and took on Winthrop, but while the Eagles had a couple fans there, it was a lot of northern South Carolina Gamecock fans in attendance. So it's going to be a rowdy crowd. So you look at how the pitching staff is going to perform here this weekend. They've got some dudes lined up. You go back to the midweek game against Gardner-Webb, and Coach Maneri wanted to get a lot of guys some innings and some at-bats there, so that's why you saw 4 and 5 pitchers in the 8th and 9th inning of a run rule game, or rather the 6th and 7th inning of a run rule game. Maybe just pitched to 1 batter apiece. So pitching-wise, you're in great shape. Offensively, Tuesday was sort of the break through the shell game that I think this team really needed. They brought their team average up now 304 as a group. You hit 5 homers. You've hit 12 now on the season. And your lineup's really starting to take some pretty good shape. I know that 4-hole, or rather the 2 spot, has had 4 different guys in. It's kind of been a revolving door that Coach Maneri is just trying to figure out who that best fit may be. I think he figured it out on Tuesday when Jace Wood hit a pair of homers there. What an addition he's been from the junior college ranks. And then you figure out, different position battles. Somebody asked me yesterday, how do I feel about this team right now? I know for a fact KJ Scobie is going to be at third base all season long. I know for a fact Nathan Hall is going to be in center field all season long. After that, you can figure it out wherever you'd like. There's guys that can play a lot of different places, and there's also a couple of different faces that you can see at different positions. So there's certainly some key areas that you're looking at this weekend. Offensively, you see how you hit what's a pretty good rotation for Clemson, especially their 1-2 punch of Canuck and Darden on Friday and Saturday. So it's an exciting time. I think you said at the beginning, they say this is the best rivalry in college baseball. Well, all of us, we know it's the best rivalry in college baseball, which makes it all that more exciting.
Hanging out here with Cade Crenshaw, does play-by-play both on the softball and baseball side here at Carolina. Cade, you mentioned how this will be a much different test for South Carolina's pitchers. As you've kind of gotten ready for this game, what has stood out to you about Clemson just in terms of some guys at the plate that Gamecock fans will maybe need to be aware of and know of that could make a big impact? It seems like a fairly deep lineup for Clemson, and they've brought some guys back, but also it seems like they've had a pretty good offseason in the transfer portal from what I've noticed and some newcomers have done so far.
Yeah, certainly, the returning face for them that, South Carolina fans should know very well. Cam Canarella, Hartsville kid. He's been there, projected to be a first-round pick next year out of their outfield. He's their center fielder. He certainly sets the tone for them. He's been in that leadoff spot most of the time for Clemson. So you've got Canarella back as a familiar face, but then you mix in a couple new faces. Clemson really hit the transfer portal hard this offseason to bring in really a lot of veterans as well. They got a guy named Dominic Listy. He came from Indiana State. He's led them in hitting so far. He's hit 462 on the year. He's been really solid for them. And then a guy like Josh Pano, who they brought in as a middle infielder out of Cal Baptist. He's been really big. And then you've got some power bats that they brought in too. A guy in Colin Priest, who I know Eric Backage recruited to the University of Michigan when he was a high schooler, ended up going to the Wolverines last year in his freshman season. Played very well there last year, hit 280, played a whole season for Michigan. Then he comes over to join Backage here at Clemson. He's a big power bat for them, and they've got some pop. I think coming into their game on Tuesday against Winthrop, you really hadn't seen much power from this Clemson offense. But on Tuesday, they break it open. You hit, 5-6 homers. They scored 20 runs. And against what I think is a pretty good Winthrop team, who I think is going to make some noise in the Big South. So you got a good mix of some power hitters. They've got contact hitters. They've got speed. They're 14 for 14 on the base pass this year, so they run very well. But, the numbers-wise and projections-wise, it all goes out the window when these two teams come to play because it just takes on a brand-new meeting, and you're in different ballparks 3 straight days. So every single guy on both teams is going to be out of their comfort zone all weekend long because nobody on either side has really gone through that process. Clemson started the year in one of those multi-team round-robin tournaments they played over at a professional ballpark out in Texas, played a couple, ranked teams there. So they're used to seeing, a couple different opponents back-to-back days, but it's in the same ballpark where you wake up and you're not traveling the next day. You're in a different hotel room the next day. BP's on a different field. So there's a lot of adjustments and 3 completely different ballparks that they'll play in all weekend.
Cade, is Chris getting the ball tonight for Clemson will be Aiden Kanak, who was really good last year as a freshman, came in and had a first-team preseason All-American designation heading into the 2025 season. We got about 3 more minutes here, but run down, if you will, the strength of this Clemson pitching staff and how you think they may match up with this South Carolina lineup that seemed to get better and better.
This is a Clemson team that's given up some runs this year. They certainly have on the pitching side. Like I said, they played some ranked teams early on in the season, got run ruled by Ole Miss 15-5, and then on Tuesday, like I said, they scored 20 runs against Winthrop. They also gave up 7. So it's a pitching staff that lost some pieces from last year to the draft, mainly on the pitching side. So they've got some younger guys that they've mixed in there. But like I said, certainly their 1-2 punch is their Friday, Saturday guys in the rotation. You've got Kanak tonight, who South Carolina got to last year a little bit, got him for 3 runs in 5 innings. And then Ethan Darden on Saturday, who South Carolina saw in a mixture of roles last season, as did he. He started and relieved a little bit last year. So it's a tough matchup, but South Carolina, go back a week or so ago when you played Milwaukee. Milwaukee's Friday night guy was really solid, really, really solid pitcher. So you've seen some strong pitching to this point, but certainly it's a different level tonight, but certainly you think the Gamecocks will be prepared and be ready.
And he is Cade Crenshaw from the Gamecock Radio Network. Will be you and Stuart tomorrow because Derek's got to do the basketball game. Is that the schedule for the weekend?
Yep, Derek Scott, Stuart Lake tonight, 6:45 p.m. airtime, 7 o'clock first pitch on the Gamecock Sports Network from Learfield. We'll bring you tomorrow's game. It's at 1:30 in Greenville, and then we're back at Founders at 5 o'clock on Sunday.
Going to be a busy weekend. Appreciate your time as always, and we'll be checking with you here in the coming weeks as well.
All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Again, Kate Crenshaw, you're here on the call for South Carolina taking on Clemson tomorrow. That game out at Flora Field, as he mentioned, with the 1:31 pitch, 1:15 airtime here on the game tonight. Get things rolling at 7 o'clock on the game in Columbia as well as in Myrtle Beach. Reminder as well, the Gamecock Traditions over-under contest. Clemson themed this week, the over-under for total number of wins against the Tigers. Lines at 1.5. Go online to 1075thegame.com and pick which you think is the right answer. And if you get it correct, you are in for a chance to win a Gamecock Traditions gift card again on 1075thegame.com. We'll buy or sell as the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs rolls along on your Friday here on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, guys, time to upgrade that man cave. The best people to do it for you, our friends over at Integrated Media. You want an idea of some of the things they've done at other homes throughout the Midlands, head on over to integratedmediainc.com. Hit the Our Services drop down or hit the Gallery drop down. You're going to get some photos and a list of all the great things they can do for you at your home. Want to make your home a smart home? They can handle that for you. Want to upgrade that extra room in your house into a full-on home theater? They can do that too. Want to upgrade the security and the cameras at your house? That's easy for them. And, of course, if it's something maybe as simple as just hanging a TV, or maybe you want to hide all those wires so that you have a much more professional look in your living room, they can do that for you too over at Integrated Media. They've been to my home. They've been to Chris's home. They can come to your home as well and do a great job. That phone number, 803-948-8327. Again, 803-948-8327. Hit up Integrated Media today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Fun, fun, fun with friends and family. Saturday, March 29th, it's the historic 90th running of the Carolina Cup races presented by MUSC Health. Make tailgating plans now. Spring begins at the Carolina Cup. Unique fashion, shopping, entertainment, and incredible steeplechase racing all day long. There is nothing like the Carolina Cup races presented by MUSC Health. Get your tickets now at carolinacup.org. It's Saturday, March 29th, rain or shine in Camden.
When you're overwhelmed with tax debt, deciding what to do next is a true win or lose decision. You can lose your car, your paycheck, even your retirement savings. Or you can choose someone to help you win this battle with the IRS. Now is the time to tackle your tax debt, but you don't have to do it alone. Meet Priority Tax Relief, veteran-owned and the expert in tax debt resolution. Our priority is fighting for you. Our team has helped clients save millions and can reduce or even erase your tax debt. Call 800-961-3387 right now to talk to our winning team. Priority Tax Relief has a direct line to the IRS. That's right, a fast track to find out if you qualify for life-changing tax relief in just minutes. Priority Tax Relief fights to protect your money, has 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Why wait? Call Priority Tax Relief for your free tax consultation. Call 800-961-3387. That's 800-961-3387. Let's make your taxes our priority. Stop your tax debt now. Call 800-961-3387.
I know what you're thinking. Football season's over. Sunday's going to feel a little emptier. Hey, keep your head up. Don't get too down, because the most exciting day of the year is coming fast. That's right, it's St. Patrick's Day, or as we like to call it, Happy Dan Patrick's Day. No better way to celebrate than with Keeper's Heart Irish American Whiskey. It's a whiskey that brings people together, just like football, but with a little more Irish charm. Crafted with Irish tradition and American spirit, it's smooth enough to sip, bold enough to mix, and guaranteed to make March 17th feel like the MVP of celebrations. So if you're missing the thrill of game day, don't worry, because the real party is just getting underway. Grab a bottle of Keeper's Heart and let's raise a glass to the best time of the year. Find Keeper's Heart at your local store or buy it online, keepersheartwhiskey.com. And you can enjoy 15% off if you use the promo code DAN25. It's DAN25, 15% off. And as always, remember to taste responsibly.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
And welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris along with you on your Friday, talking all things baseball. Reminder, if you haven't already, go online to 1075thegame.com and register for your chance to win the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. If a Gamecock batter hits a Grand Slam this weekend, you could win the cash prize in the pot as it goes up by $25 every game. Last Friday, Jace Woida won somebody $150 with his Grand Slam, and certainly would love to see some of those happen this weekend as well. Again, 1075thegame.com if you're not already to register for that. As we get set for Carolina taking on Clemson, it's time for our favorite segment of the week. It's time to buy or sell. Buy or sell number one. Chris, a little bit earlier, mentioned the struggle that it is to be a road team in this series. Since 2021, in true road games, the away team is 1-6. Buy or sell?
You have to do anything with the answer, but if you're thinking about it, okay, Carolina's going to either, have to win at Clemson or have to win at Fluor Field. And the Tigers, I can't remember the head-to-head between Clemson and Carolina in Greenville, but the Tigers, anytime they play in Greenville, have been really good. I mean, they're like 31-9 all time because they play other games there as well. So they're, kind of tough to beat in Greenville too, and they're a good baseball team. But yeah, I'm with Wes. Since I don't have to say which one, if you're looking at the percentages, even though the home team has been really good in this series, especially as of late, if you play the odds are a road team gets one of those two. So I'll buy it.
Buy across the board. I'll make a bold proclamation. I think Carolina wins tonight. Aiden Kanat has had a bit of a shaky start to the season, giving up 3 home runs. So if Carolina can continue its offensive success this week against him tonight, I think they get the win up there on the road in Clemson.
By the way, boys, have y'all seen the D1 baseball staff picks?
Are they all Clemson?
It looks like the Clemson Tiger threw up on this graphic. Like there
a lot of orange.
It looks like when College Game Day, when they all pick the same team and it's just blasting that logo. They're literally, I didn't even know they had this many staffers, but there's 11 guys on here and they all picked Clemson.
Well, Paul, there's your bulletin board material for the weekend if you need it.
Print this thing out, hang it in the locker room.
There you go. Buy or sell number 2. Ethan Petrie hit a home run in each of the games last year and has had a very impressive career against Clemson in the 5 games he's played so far. I'm going to set the line at over-under for home runs 1.5 Ethan Petrie this weekend. You can either buy the over or sell the under.
I'm a buy he hits 1. I'm a sell he hits 2. So I'm selling your number.
All right.
Just because if I'm Clemson and Carolina has been searching for who's going to be their consistent other threats. We know what Nathan Hall's done at the top of the order. We know, Jace Woida the last, couple weeks has been fantastic. But still, if I'm Clemson, I mean, they pitched to Petrie last year at Seger Park, and he tied the game in the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm letting anybody on the planet but Ethan Petrie beat me if I'm them. And there is no Cole Messina in this lineup to maybe protect him potentially. So I'm going to sell, but it's really more about the way Clemson, I think, will approach him this weekend, especially being a staff that is still trying to figure out exactly what they are.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, I think if you mentioned Tyler, it was a good point, and Kate brought it up too in the last segment. They've had Clemson pitching staff has given up some runs. They've given up some homers. Kanak, who gets the ball tonight, is in that category. And so, look, Clemson staff obviously knows that too. So when you got Ethan Petrie coming up, you don't want to, throw him a meatball. Now, a lot of it has to do, what are the guys around him doing? Are there guys on base? Does it make sense to walk them? Does it make sense to pitch around? I tend to think they're going to be quite careful about making a mistake because he can make you pay in a hurry. So I'm going under as well. And I'm with you, Wes. It's not because Petrie's slumping or I'm not confident that he could do it. I think he could hit a homer in every game if given the opportunity this weekend. But I do think the Tigers are going to be pretty cautious there, so I'll go under.
His career numbers, by the way, in 5 games, 6 of 18, 5 RBIs, and 2 home runs in his career against Clemson so far. And I agree with you guys. I'm going to sell as well. I think it's reasonable to hit maybe 1 home run, but I don't think they're going to give him too many opportunities to make them pay while he's at the plate over the course of the weekend.
You know who has had a great career against Clemson, actually, is Tal LeCroy.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder...
Didn't Tippett go off in one of the games last year as well?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
I wonder... First of all, I wonder what the catcher situation looks like.
It sounded like Maneri was pretty confident in LeCroy, and that seemed to be the plan going forward.
Yeah. Our guy Max, though, he's
good.
He's got some power to him.
Yeah, Bakes has shown you some stuff as well, so you got options.
Yeah, you got options. But LeCroy, could this be the weekend that LeCroy starts to maybe have the ball fall for him a little bit and gets his confidence back and gets going? That would be huge for Carolina, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy or sell, number 3. South Carolina staff doing a very good job when it comes to strikeouts so far this year, averaging 11.5 per game. Clemson batters, on the other hand, averaging about 8 strikeouts per game for their offense. Another over-under here. If I set the line at 28.5 strikeouts on the weekend for the South Carolina staff, are you buying or selling?
Chris, you can go first.
So if I'm doing the math, that would mean, Clemson's average across 3 games would be about 24, Carolina at about 33. So you kind of split the difference there, Tyler.
That's why I did that.
Yeah, good job there. 28.5. I'll go under. I think this is going to be, the best lineup Carolina's seen. I think there'll be more balls in play, not quite as many strikeouts. Going under.
Tyler, what about you?
I would agree with that. I go back to what Maneri said before the season even started. He kind of expected this team to pitch contact a lot. And again, when you've played lesser competition these first couple weeks, those are great numbers to put up from a strikeout standpoint. But I think the quality of bats you're going to be facing all weekend long, it's going to be tough to go through and have that many strikeouts. So I think, like Chris said, a lot of balls in play, so I'll sell as well.
But as Clemson faced as good a pitching as Carolina has, I know they played that sort of little series to open out in Texas, which actually I thought was pretty cool. I think the Carolina staff is at least a couple of steps better than maybe we thought they were going to be on paper. That could be proven wrong, of course.
Be different, man. Go for it.
All right, yeah, I'll buy it.
All right, he'll buy. Last one here. South Carolina was the last team to score double digits in this rivalry back in 2023 when they scored 11 runs in that 11-9 win. Buy or sell, one team is able to hit double digits at least once this weekend.
I'll actually buy that too. I think complete gut feeling. You've got a South Carolina lineup that has got maybe started to get hot. Clemson pitching staff that hasn't been the best. And then, frankly, the other side, you have a Clemson lineup that I think could go off at any time. And, we've seen South Carolina play really good defense so far, but I think this is a lineup for Clemson that if you give them free bases at any point, and I'm thinking more along the lines of the pressure will be up a little bit more on South Carolina. We don't know how exactly they're going to respond to that. And typically, some weird things can happen in this rivalry. So I'll buy that maybe somebody goes off.
I agree. I couldn't have said it any better. It's like a gut feel at this point, and I'll go a little bit farther. I'll do Tyler's bold proclamation style. Floor field, one of the teams, just like South Carolina did in 2023. Not going to say which team, but somebody gets double digits.
We're going to have to buy across the board on this one once again. Weather's warming up. It's going to be a nice weekend all weekend long. I've saw both these teams really kind of ramp up their production on offense. Ball's traveled a lot farther in their midweek games. 9 combined homers between South Carolina's win against Gardner-Webb and Clemson's 27 win against Winthrop. So I think we're going to see quite a few runs across the board this weekend, and I think somebody at least once is going to be able to hit into those double digits. We'll come back and wrap up today's edition of the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Take a quick trip down memory lane and some great moments in this rivalry over the years as we get you set for South Carolina and Clemson coming up later on today, 7 o'clock first pitch here on The Game in Columbia and in Myrtle Beach. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour on your Friday on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam, you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
This is Maggie Gray with the Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Travis Hunter has made no secret that he wants to continue to play both offense and defense on a full-time basis in the NFL. But if I'm a general manager, I'm not signing off on that. First, I need to see how Hunter transitions to the NFL from college football. As we know, nothing is a guarantee. If he can prove he can stay healthy and still make an impact on one side of the ball, then perhaps we should start to see his workload increase. I'm Maggie Gray.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ooh, got a dash light on? The AutoZone free fix finder service can read your check engine, ABS, and other warning lights to help you find the fix. You'll get an easy-to-read report with clear next steps. And we can recommend a trusted local shop if you need one. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free fix finder service with shop referral. Only at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check you have gas first before road tripping through the desert.
Empty? Seriously? Maybe I can walk.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com.
Maybe I can't.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Alan Kennington, responsible for this ad. Office in 1440 Broad River Road, Columbia, South Carolina.
You're hurt. With over 85,000 cases resolved, 12 offices across the state, and over $1 billion recovered in just the past 10 years, you need South Carolina's largest injury law firm on your side. You need George Sink now. George Sink knows South Carolina, and George Sink lawyers will help you every step of the way on your recovery.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Uh-huh.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, third generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment, with some great news for anyone looking to add some new lawn equipment to their garage or trailer. Just in time for spring, we've got awesome financing options that let you spread your Steel, Toro, or Gravely equipment purchase out over 3, 4, or even 5 years with no interest. For any budget, any yard, Cato's Power Equipment has the best equipment around, with top-notch service to back it up. Come shop our huge selection of zero turns today.
The Gamecock Central Takeover Hour with Tyler Head, along with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central. Sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network and on the 1075 The Game app.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Affects you enough that you can't get your feet under you.
And here's Schaus. He hits a bullet down to first. Great stop by Walker. South Carolina wins. And Jack Leggett and Clemson head back to South Carolina as the Gamecocks move on to the championship finals.
Welcome back in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler West, Chris, here with you on your Friday, getting you set for another edition of South Carolina and Clemson on the baseball diamond. And talk about legendary moments over the course of this rivalry, and perhaps none bigger than what happened back in 2010. Can't believe it's been 15 years with South Carolina eliminating Clemson in the semifinals en route to that national championship.
That'll make you feel old. But, yeah, I was there for that. And, man, that was special. Again, Chris mentioned it earlier this week. South Carolina lost 2 of 3 to Clemson that year and during the regular season. And then, of course, got the best revenge you could ever get by beating them at Omaha. And you know, South Carolina has tended to match up with Clemson over the years at times in the playoffs and has fared very, very well. I remember that would have been a few years later, 2012, I think. Clemson was in South Carolina's regional, and they had a battle there. You can go all the way back to the original. So there were 2 different time periods where Ray Tanner took South Carolina to 3 straight Omahas, and you can go back to the Khalil Green days at Clemson where South Carolina beat Clemson in Omaha as well. So this rivalry has not only had some really good local moments and some great games, but also has had some fantastic games with, on the national stage as well.
Yeah, that series and that year just really stands out because we were talking about that earlier this week, Wes. Like, Gamecocks lose. I think it was the rubber match of that series. They got just pounded 19-6. Bad vibes, right? But then you end up making the tournament. You get your opportunity at revenge, and you take it. And another kind of cool thing that I'd actually forgotten about this until I was looking at it earlier. The series opener that year in 2010, Michael Roth came on in relief and actually took the loss in that game. So he gave up, I think, a 2-out bottom 8th inning go-ahead hit. Well, he comes back, of course, in game 1 in Omaha, making his 3rd ever career start and went the distance. Gave up all he gave was 3 hits. Just 1 walk, struck out 4, a whole bunch of ground balls, just, very much frustrating the Clemson lineup. And then, of course, the following game, the Gamecocks were able to win 4-3 on that clip that Tyler just played. But it would be hard pressed to beat, taking down the Tigers in Omaha. If you're a South Carolina fan, that one will always be, I think, probably at the top of everybody's list.
And with the last about 2 minutes here, I want to get your guys' perspective on this. I played the clip from 2010 where South Carolina went on and won the national championship the next year. You had the shenanigans unfolding between these 2 teams. It really seemed like about 15 years ago, this has always been a huge rivalry, but when these 2 teams
bat warmer,
yeah, that
shenanigans,
the shenanigans, the Ray Tanner quote.
Yeah.
It really just kind of seemed like it ticked up an even higher notch about 15 years ago with those 2 instances there. And obviously he's been at a high level and a high clip ever since. And you guys have been around this rivalry for a long time. Did it feel like maybe it turned up to another degree when all that kind of stuff happened?
I would say, yeah. I mean, when you're playing games in Omaha and you got a little bit of drama as well, you've got a little bit of something just to make it more spicy. I think something would have to happen on the field for it to be ratcheted up again. Like I think the rivalry is in a good place in terms of just the fan bases, in terms of like how much this game matters, how much this series matters, I should say. But I don't get the sense there's much real just maybe animosity between the 2 sides. Typically, those things maybe come in waves, and over time it will kind of dissipate. But then if something happens, it ratchets up a little bit. And that was certainly a case of it ratcheted up mainly because of what South Carolina sending Clemson home the previous year. And you can look at those teams, man. Clemson played tight against South Carolina back then. So I think that was the example of a team that was pressing, a program that was pressing. And, I think probably was looking for any excuse at the time. And it kind of just, I would say, escalated from there.
One of the most epic press conferences ever. Ray Tanner after that game. There was some Clemson, I can't remember which Clemson player. He's like, I guess we should have checked his bat when he hit one 500 feet the other day. He was not happy. That was classic.
Are we expecting any kind of barbs between Bakich and Maneri? Maneri's such a nice guy. I don't think we're going to get anything too spicy out of him.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Not publicly. Like, here's the thing about Maneri. That guy is like the nicest guy you've ever met. Yeah. But he is competitive as he can be on the field. So I think Maneri's probably the guy, if I've got him sort of figured out, he's probably the guy that says some things in the dugout, like to his team, that maybe on the outside you'd be like, wait, he said that?
Right.
But he's never going to let it carry over into a press conference setting.
We'll see what happens this weekend, and we'll break it all down coming up on Monday. Also talk some NFL Combine, too, as a lot of Gamecocks out there in Indianapolis this weekend as well. I'll do it for the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Coming up next, halftime show. Self Terry Ford on your Friday here in the game.
.1075 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive. Griffin Pools and Spas, your authorized Latham and Imperial dealer, is having their biggest sale of the year on all in-ground pools and hot tubs. Come by their location at 1348 North Lake Drive to visit factory reps and save thousands on in-ground pools with huge discounts and incentives on spas. Buy now, save, and enjoy your pool or spa all summer long.